BTS Stars में आज नताशा के साथ आए विजय विक्रम सिंह और करी उन्होंने ढेर सारी चर्चा. How I got approached for Bigg Boss, that happened way back in 2010. I started doing voiceovers in 2009, a very young age of 32, when people are already settled in their careers. I have something in common with Mr. Salman Khan. He and I joined the show in the same season.
Okay.
A lot of people want to get into voicing or acting because they think that it's easier than what they're currently doing. That's the approach which is a recipe for disaster, sure shot disaster. I met Mr. Mukesh Chabra. He saw me and he said, "You act also, come for an audition." And he auditioned me for Family Man. And once I went on the set, acted with Manoj sir, I realized that I need to work really a lot on my craft. Basic thought that is ingrained in our mind, failure is the opposite of success. If you don't succeed, you gain experience. BTS Stars में आज नताशा के साथ आए विजय विक्रम सिंह और करी उन्होंने ढेर सारी चर्चा.
So, like I said, your voice needs no introduction. So, let's start with your journey. How did you decide to become a voiceover artist?
No, there are a lot of people who don't know me. That's the perils of being associated with a profession which is basically behind the mic. I also want to congratulate you for this concept wherein you're bringing out people who work behind the cameras. That I've been associated with a couple of projects, one particularly, which gives me a lot of recognition. How did the journey start? Journey started accidentally. I never aspired to be a voice artist. I never knew that there's a career called voice artist which ever existed until the age of 29 when someone introduced me to the concept of voiceovers by telling me that I have a good voice, and I told that person that I can't sing. So that was my level of awareness about voiceovers as a career. When I was taken to the studio and given a first-hand experience of it, I really loved the entire process, and that's where I decided that no, I want to try this as a profession. So to my credit, something clicked, something I really liked, and I gave it a shot. So that's how this journey of voicing started. I keep saying that I'm an accidental artist. So this journey started accidentally, and the journey after that also has had a lot of wonderful and pleasant accidents.
So, like you said, voiceover artists unfortunately don't get the same kind of recognition as someone on camera. So, is that a bit disappointing sometimes?
So there are two aspects to it. First, when I chose this as a career, fame was never on my mind. So way back in 2007, when I got introduced to this art form, I got fascinated with the entire process. So it never felt that, oh my God, I'm not getting any fame. But on the flip side, when I got associated with Bigg Boss in 2010, people started knowing me and people started recognizing me through my work. And then fortunately, I came into acting also, and I started doing web series. So recognition has always been there. Thirdly, so I said two aspects, but there is a third aspect as well. Because of social media, now there is a lot of awareness about voice artists. There are a lot of pages which introduce people to voice artists in terms of what they do and who are the voices behind popular TV shows or popular characters.
That's true, and people do associate you mainly with Bigg Boss because that's, I think, the hugest show right now. And every season people look forward to what's happening and who's there. And so do you remember like how you were approached for that show and how did everything work out?
That's also a little ironical that despite the fact that I've done most of the reality shows in India, I only get known and associated with one particular show. Although the fact is that like even now, as we speak, Indian Idol and MasterChef are the two shows that are on air, and I am voicing both of them. And people keep asking me, what do you do in that show? कौन सी आवाज़ निकालते हैं आप? तो मैं कोई आवाज़ नहीं निकालता हूँ. I just open the show and I close the show in the sense, आज MasterChef में ये होगा, या आज Indian Idol में ये होगा, और कल Indian Idol में आ रहे हैं ये मेहमान. So these are the voiceovers that I keep doing for the show. How I got approached for Bigg Boss, that happened way back in 2010. I started doing voiceovers in 2009. I took it up as a career in 2009 at a very young age of 32, when, when people are already settled in their careers. But I quit my job, and so I have an MBA degree, and I was working in the corporate sector when I decided that no, this is my calling. So 2009 I started doing voiceovers full time. 2010 there was a mail which said that we are looking for the narrator's voice of Bigg Boss, and kindly send your samples or CD. And then when I sent the sample, this CD, they called me for an audition 2 months after that. And then in the due course of time I was finalized, and 2nd October 2010 is when I joined the show in its 4th season.
And it's been a long journey since then.
Amazingly long journey,
Yeah.
touch wood. So I have something in common with Mr. Salman Khan. He and I joined the show in the same season,
Okay.
and have been, touch wood, continuing.
And so there's this joke that, Bigg Boss ka chehra kabhi nahi dekha hai, but voice, of course.
Bigg Boss का चेहरा अभी भी नहीं दिखा है, because see there are two voices, as I said. There's one which talks to the contestants, which people think is the Bigg Boss voice, and one is me who narrates the show to the audiences.
Yeah.
So अभी भी Bigg Boss का चेहरा नहीं दिखा है.
But like you said, you have done a lot more work as well. So anything you'd like to share about your other projects also besides MasterChef and Indian Idol?
As I said, I've done most of the reality shows that are there in the country. I started with a show called Dance India Dance,
Okay.
season 1. That was my first show as a voice artist, way back in 2009. Since then, until last month, I was associated with all the reality shows of ZTV.
Okay.
All the reality shows on ZTV on the weekend had my voice since 2009. So that's one thing that is I find very remarkable. And secondly, all the big brands that you can think of in the reality TV space, I have voiced them.
And any advice you would give newcomers in this field, what they can look forward to, and any advice that you learned from your experiences?
Most importantly, don't think of creative career as an escape route to your existing careers. A lot of people want to get into voicing or acting because they think that it's easier than what they're currently doing. That's the approach which is a recipe for disaster, sure shot disaster. You should venture into any kind of creative professions only and only if you're really passionate about it and you have the requisite talent. Both aspects need to be looked at with equal importance. Objective analysis of the talent is also very important. Sometimes we think we can. I thought that I could be a good cricketer. I wanted to play for the country. I gave 4 or 5 years of my life to cricket. And it took me 4 or 5 years to realize that, oh my God, okay, I actually don't have the talent. Let's not pursue it.
Yeah.
So that objective analysis has to be done for getting into any creative field. How you do that objective analysis? Through someone else, through a third party, in the sense you get someone to guide you, or how you do that is something that you'll have to figure out. But then objective analysis of your talent is very important. Once you have realized that no, I have the talent and I'm passionate about it, then there are 2 aspects to any art form. One is the art form, the talent, and the other is the craft, the process. Follow the process. Work on the talent. Between a very talented person and someone who has average talent but works really hard, the one with average talent and working very hard will go the longer distance. So talent is nothing without discipline and hard work and practice. So there is a lot of blood and sweat in the creative field, especially. The glamour that you see is not even 1% of how it is. There are a lot of failures, stumbling blocks, a lot of falling down, broken dreams. I get rejected almost every week, either in the voicing space or in the acting space. But if you start taking that failure or that rejection as a statement of your talent, of your ability, then you can't go very far. Once you have entered into this space, you have to accept that there will be a lot of rejections. And you can take those rejections only if you are passionate about this.
True. So, like you said, if someone like you can go through rejections, who's done so much work, I'm sure it's much more difficult for newcomers.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, so any advice on that front? Because a lot of people tend to give up. They don't really have the kind of patience or maybe the strength to go through rejections.
What differentiates between a successful career and an average career is your perseverance, is your persistence. Once you know that you are talented, once you are sure about your ability, then you just have to persist. And of course, keep working on your art form, on your talent.
And of course, we have a few questions about Bigg Boss. So, since you have been associated with the show so long, so any of your favorite seasons, maybe that, or any of your favorite moments on the show?
I have been associated since season 4, but season 2 and 3 I watched as an audience. So season 3, which I watched as an audience, will always be special because there were so many contestants I could relate to as an audience. Raju Srivastava and a whole bunch of people. So that will always be my favorite season because I was not associated with it. Once you get associated, then there is a sense and a level of detachment that you have to follow. And also when you get too close to something, then the aspirational aspect of it also probably settles down a little bit. So as an audience, when I watched it, it was great fun. And my memories are from the times when I watched it as an audience in season 2 and 3.
And what is a typical day in your life when the season is on? It must be pretty hectic.
I have to go on the set for a particular span of time. And now that since 2019, the show is shot in Bombay, it has become easier to pursue other work as well. Whereas when you were in Lonavala, you had to be there for the entire duration of the show. So the other work suffered a little, not too much, because I have had my own recording setup for the longest time. So I have been sending recordings when I was even in Lonavala, isolated in Lonavala. Even then I would do a lot of work, but still there were a lot of assignments that you had to let go because you were not physically present.
And of course, we also have to ask you about the host, Mr. Salman Khan, since like you said, both of you have been associated so long. So any memorable interactions there or any memories with him?
People think that since we are on the same show, we must be buddies. It's not like that at all. I've met him hardly 3 or 4 times. And every time I meet, I do introduce him that I am so-and-so. I do this on the show. And every time he tells me that yes, he does remember. I still am a huge fan. I'm as starstruck about him as I was 15, 20 years back. And memories, the first time that I met him in 2010 was very memorable because it was my birthday. And he was the first big star that I had seen in flesh and blood. So, and I remember calling everyone I could call. I met him and he wished me happy birthday. So yeah, but it's a very professional relationship.
And the show has created a lot of stars, right? From Shehnaz Gill to Tejasvi Prakash. This season we have MC Stan, Shiv Thakre. So, what do you feel just keeps bringing people back to the show and all this love that they shower on contestants?
It's amazing that even after so many years, there is so much adulation and so much love for the format. Credit to the people who made the format, that it still attracts the kind of viewership it does. So it is amazing, of course. Hats off to them.
So there was this reel that went viral of you announcing the time in the Bigg Boss house. So did you notice that, and any of your favorites?
First of all, the time is not announced in the house. The time is for the episode. And that was an amazing experience, suddenly people messaging you that, this reel in your voice is getting viral. Subah 9 baje, subah 10 baje, subah 11 baje. I remember personally sharing at least 10 of those reels. I don't know how many got made, but everybody was making reels with those time tickers, whether it was a day in a dog's life, a day in someone's life, a day in a student's life, you know. So yeah, it was amazing. It is the kind of validation that you look for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I never thought that that validation will come like this. But it was amazing, yes.
So, but with Instagram, do you feel, these trends especially? So, is that something also you enjoy yourself as a viewer also?
I do watch a lot of trends. There are times, of course, you feel that why is everybody doing the same thing? You know, why is it? When something is done by so many people, it loses its charm. People who are good at it must do it, and others should just watch it and enjoy it. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy these reels made by people on different trends, and especially when you have your own signature voice in some of the reels. It's really it's a great form of validation, and yes, you do feel good about it.
And so, like you said, you're also into acting. So, if you'd like to share some details on that for people who don't really know.
Acting also started accidentally. For the benefit of your audience, let me tell them that within voice there are different things that people do. So there is something called voiceovers. Voiceovers is when a voice comes from behind and informs you about either a product which is done in advertising. ले आइए नया रिन अब सिर्फ 5 रुपए में, प्रिल की शक्ति आपको देगी आपके बर्तनों को चमचमाती सफ़ेदी. तो ये वॉइस ओवर है एड फिल्म के लिए. या एक वॉइस ओवर अगर आप किसी शो के लिए करते हैं, जैसे मैं चाहे अगर बिग बॉस हो, आगे देखिए, या कोई दूसरा शो कि आज इस शो में हम देखेंगे ये वॉइस ओवर है. फिर होती है डबिंग. डबिंग कई तरह से होती है. कार्टून कैरेक्टर्स की डबिंग होती है. डबिंग होती है किसी एक भाषा में ऑलरेडी वो कंटेंट है और उसको आप दूसरे भाषा में डब कर रहे हो. दैट इज़ कॉल्ड डबिंग. Then there is storytelling in the forms of audio books and all. So I was from the start, thankfully, since I have a slightly bassy voice, I used to get a lot of voiceover assignments. I struggled with dubbing initially, but it never pinched me because voiceover was taking care of the creative satisfaction as well as the monetary aspect of it. But yes, deep down, you want to do things that creatively stimulate you. So in 2015, I realized that I'm not getting too many dubbing assignments, and someone said that you must work on your adaigi, and that can happen through theatre. So start doing some theatre. So that's how I got introduced to theatre. I worked with Barry John sir did a workshop with him and started doing theatre. I did plays. The sole motive was to just improve the voice and get more expression into it. While doing it, I met Mr. Mukesh Chabra in a show called India's Next Superstar, where he was the acting coach and I was doing voiceovers, and I was also coaching the contestants in that. He auditioned me he saw me and he said, you act also, come for an audition. I went for an audition. Actually, he wanted me to train Sanjana because he was starting Dil Bechara at that time. Okay. He said, just the film will run on her voiceovers, so just give her certain tips about voiceovers, and that's how I met him in his office, and he auditioned me for Family Man.
Okay.
And the next day of the audition, I got a call from the Rajan DK's office that you are selected for the part of Ajit. So that's how I ended up into acting. And once I went on the set, acted with Manoj sir, I realized that I need to work really a lot on my craft, and that's how I started working on the craft. In various acting techniques, and slowly and steadily work also started happening. Then Special Ops happened in 2021, Special Ops 1.5. That was a kind of a breakthrough moment where it got established that yes, I can act, and I also got the confidence that yes, I can. There's a movie that is set to release this year. There are 4 other web series I've done, including one with Kajol ma'am, the Good Wife. Can't talk about any of it much, but yes, this is something that is already out, so I can speak about it. But there are 4 web series that I will be seen in this year.
And how difficult is it dubbing for other artists? Like you said, you dub for them as well.
Yes, I recently dubbed for Ashutosh Rana sir in Khaki, the Bihar chapter. So these shows that are made for OTT platforms, they are dubbed in other languages as well, and I did his dubbing in English. It is difficult, but it is enriching also, Because you get to, now since I am acting, I am able to appreciate those nuances more than probably I was when I was not acting. It's amazing learning experience watching someone like Ashutosh Rana doing small little things to enhance the performance, and the way he creates a graph within a scene. It's a great learning experience, and of course it's creatively satisfying also when you recreate something which is so beautifully done already.
And now that you are dabbling in so many different fields, is there something?
This is just a very small part of what I'm doing. So there is voice training that I do for corporates as well. I have a signature program which is called the Leadership Voice Program, which I do for mid-level and senior level executives. I speak at universities and corporates as well. Through my journey, I have learned certain things, like how important failure is. What is the importance of stress in life? These are the things that I have learned the hard way. And that is what I share on these platforms. Like I went to UK recently and spoke at University of Leicester, University of Leeds and University College Birmingham also. I enjoy doing that a lot as well, sharing my experiences.
And anything else that you still feel that maybe this is something I want to try?
These things that I'm doing already, like within the voiceover space, there's so much that needs to be done, that can be done. I want to dub more now, get more into dubbing, because I enjoy the process of acting now and understand the process of acting more than I used to earlier. So I want to enhance my acting skills through dubbing as well. By watching people who I am going to dub for. Then I do want to take the training part to as many people as I can, because voice is one of the most ignored aspect of one's personality. People think that only actors or voice actors need to work on their voice, whereas what they forget is that voice is the most essential element of your verbal communication. And research has shown that between 60 to 70% of your audience's attention is grabbed not by the content, but how you present that content. So it's very important to work on your voice, to work on your clarity of speech, to basically practice something called oracy. We as a society also are moving away from communication. Although we live in the age of communication, all the communication is happening
that's true.
through our fingers. Happiness has different aspects to it. You can be ecstatic, you can be happy, you can be calmly pleasant. So there are so many things that within happiness that can define your happiness. Today we have different emoticons to express that. So you're not jogging your brain or you're not racking your brain. You're not using it to communicate. Language has taken a back seat. So these are the things that I want people to be more aware of and to work on it. Communication skill is one of the most important aspects of your personal and professional life. Beyond a point in your career, it's your communication skills that will ensure that you have a better career than others. After a certain point, your technical skills will be at par with a lot of people. It'll be your communication skills, how you communicate your ideas, how you communicate with your team, that'll ensure that you move ahead in your career. So this is one aspect that I want to take to as many people as I can.
So today when people look at you, they see the fame and the success, but they don't really know your journey, like all the trials and tribulations that you have gone through. So if you'd like to share that about how you became a motivational speaker as well, and today you teach people all
life
this,
skills.
yeah,
Yes.
life skills. Yes.
I keep telling people that I'm not a motivational speaker, because motivational speakers have immense knowledge. My knowledge comes only from my experience, and that is what I share with people. That in a way does have a very positive effect on the audiences. What happened in my life at a very early age was that I could not handle failure, and I took to alcohol at the age of 19, became an alcoholic. For 7 years I was depressed, and it almost killed me. I had a life-threatening disease because of alcoholism, and all of that just because I could not handle failure. I thought of failure as something very bad, and failure in a certain aspect of my life as a question mark on my ability. All this stems from that basic thought that is ingrained in our mind that failure is the opposite of success. Whereas the truth is that there is no opposite of success. If you don't succeed, you gain experience. If you don't succeed in your endeavor in achieving something, you've not failed, you've just stumbled, but you have gained experience. Through that experience, you can come back, work hard again, and probably achieve the desired result. That I can talk about today in retrospect, because I suffered a lot. But I was fortunate that life gave me a second chance. I took that second chance, and just by the change of perspective, things changed around me. And this is the experience that I want to share with youth, with corporates, with people who, because today everybody is very stressed. Depression has, it's not reached an epic proportion, but yes, depression is something that has become a problem area for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I want to share my own experiences of depression, that we are all victims of our own thought process. I was a victim of my own thought process. I ignored a lot of positives that were happening around me just because I was depressed about one thing in life. So that is a change of perspective that I want to bring about in people through my experiences, and that is what I share on various platforms, whether it is universities, whether it is corporates. There have been a lot of trial and tribulation, but all that trial and tribulation has been because of my own shortcoming. But the moment I overcame that shortcoming of my thought process, of positive thinking, the moment I went into positive thinking, I could see opportunities around me. Negativity blocks that vision in you.
Absolutely.
So this is what I share with people, with students, with young minds especially.
And today, when you aren't working, so how do you like spending your time with family, friends?
And when I am home, I am just chilling with kids, trying to help my wife in whichever way I can, yes.
And I'm sure people will take a lot of life lessons from this conversation. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you for inviting me.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.